everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of the Boss It Podcast. My name is Sophia Noreen and I am going to be your host. And today we are going to be chatting about procrastination. Everyone loves it and they hate it. Actually, most people hate it. Procrastination causes so much grief that I thought we do need to cover this topic because it's preventing you from moving forward with your goals, be it in health, be it in business, be it in cleaning your house. And I want to talk about 2 reasons why people may be procrastinating, and then I'm going to give you a few steps on how to prevent procrastination in your everyday life. So if you are watching the podcast, make sure to comment below on the steps that you're going to take to prevent procrastination. And if you're listening to the podcast, make sure you go ahead and share a snapshot of this podcast on Instagram. Our handle is Boss It Club, and give us a tag and we will reshare your comments on the story that you're going to be sharing and the clip of the podcast show. So what are the 2 reasons why you are procrastinating? It could be 1, that you're bored with the task that you're trying to do, or it could be that the task is way too complicated. So I would like you to start by identifying which one it is. And then we need to ask ourselves, how can we set you up for success? I'm going to give you a few examples from my life. 1, I'm bored when it comes to doing the laundry. Now, for many of you, you know that I have kids, especially if you follow me on Instagram. You can follow us at Boss It Club. And I want you to know that when you have kids, you're doing laundry all the time. And I find that task extremely, extremely boring. So how do we prevent ourselves from procrastinating on that task? Next, if there's a complicated task like my taxes, that causes me a level of anxiety. So how do I prevent myself from procrastinating from doing my taxes? I have a few tricks for both of them. The first, the boredom. When I am feeling bored with a task, I usually associate it by doing another additional task. Not so much multitasking, but doing something in addition. So for example, if I need to do the laundry, I will put on a podcast like this one and I will listen to it while I'm doing the laundry. Or that's the best time for me to go ahead and call a girlfriend on the phone and chat with them while I'm doing the laundry. If it's like taxes and it's way too complicated, I start with the minimal viable action. MVA, the minimal viable action, is the thing that you need to do to get started. Now, there's a really good book by James Clear called Atomic Habits. So if you have not picked that book up yet, it might be a good read because it talks about how the smallest action can result in a very good habit creation. And that's ultimately where we want to go with this. Once you start picking up a habit, it makes it easier and easier for you to continuously do that action. And we have chatted about that in past episodes, so you can always head back and check those out. We'll link them in the show notes. But if you can lead with your minimal viable action, your MVA, it will help you not only get momentum towards that complex task that you have been avoiding, but it'll also help build that self-esteem that can help promote you to continuously do the task. Many people have a sense of failure when they don't accomplish the task. A very simple example that I just spoke to a girlfriend about is her inability to get dinner started and going. Simple task for some of us, but very complex for others. And every time she fails at getting dinner ready, she ends up having to go ahead and order the dinner. And when she has to order the dinner, not only does it make her feel like I didn't follow through for my family, but according to the self-worth theory, you are actually reducing your self-worth because your self-worth is determined by your ability to perform a task. So every time you do that, you are not only sabotaging yourself when it comes to productivity, but you could also be hindering your psychology and further preventing you from moving forward with whatever the task may be. So again, leading with the minimal viable action, the MVA, could help start you on the path towards success. Another trick that I do is I use the SMART goal method. Now, a SMART goal is a specific, measurable, attainable, and relatable goal, and it's timely. That's what SMART stands for. We have chatted about it before in past episodes, but again, by making your goal SMART and very succinct and putting it on your agenda really helps to put you into action. And not only do we say SMART, very specific, measurable, and attainable, but we want to make sure that they are small and bite-sized, just like the minimal viable action. An example for me for laundry would be that I'm not only going to listen to my podcast, which is the incentive for me to do my laundry, but I'm going to do it at a specific time of the day, a specific type of laundry, so say the whites, for example, and I'm going to make sure that it's not going to be overwhelming. I'm going to make sure it falls at a time of the day when I feel the most productive. We've talked about that also in past episodes. We will link it below so you can go ahead and understand how the time of the day really will dictate your productivity. Another great trick is that you can go ahead and just start that action for 5 minutes. Good example is my SMART goal that's with my minimal viable action, my MVA, and I still don't want to do it. I'm still procrastinating on it. All I have to tell myself is I'm going to go ahead and I am going to do it for 5 minutes. The best example I have for you is bookkeeping. Me and my bookkeeping is always a struggle. I have tons of receipts sitting here beside me on my desk, and I do not want to go ahead and take the photo, put it in the system so the bookkeeper can go ahead and add it. And so my SMART goal task with my minimal viable action should be to just for 5 minutes a day, go ahead and start scanning those receipts into the system. That would be a great way of getting started and getting into the flow of the activity. Generally, once you do a productivity task for about 5 minutes, you'll find a sense of flow if it's the right time of the day and the task is not too complex. So that is also a great strategy that I use a lot when I really just don't want to get started. The last tip I am going to share with you about how to deal with those complex tasks that are really challenging you and you do not want to get into action with is to reframe the entire challenge as a way or an opportunity for you to show off your skills. Now, and a good example of this is when we launched their products into Walmart, I had taken much too long to give the proposal. I was overwhelmed with the thought of it. I had never done a proposal before for a big retailer. I didn't know how to do a planogram, and many people don't know how to do a planogram. I was trained as a physiotherapist, so knowing anything when it came to retail packaging and how to present an actual proposal to a retailer was completely foreign to me. And because of that challenge, I procrastinated and I did not get into action for 2 weeks before I actually sat down and did it, although I knew the meeting was coming up. And so that was an example of where I had to reframe and tell myself, listen, other people can do it, I can do it too. I also had to say to myself, this is an opportunity for me to show off what we can do. How can this company be able to supply to a big retailer? It's our opportunity now to really hone in our skills, our creativity, and bring the products to life. And that is a great trick that you can use as well. Reframe the challenge. The challenge could be that you want to go ahead and lose 10 pounds, for example. You may be like, this is my opportunity to show everyone around me how I can actually get consistent and stay in action. You could also reframe a challenge as common as getting the laundry done and staying on top of it. You could say to yourself, this is a fun challenge for me. I'm going to psych myself up and do the laundry every night with my podcast or my music, and of course, enjoy the experience, if that's even possible. Okay, guys, so from the top, what are the 4 ways to prevent procrastination? 1 is to start with your MVA, your minimal viable action. The second is to just do that action for maybe about 5 minutes and see if you can get in a state of flow. The third is to try to make that action as smart as possible and make it into a SMART goal or task. And then the final way is to reframe the challenge. Really get yourself psyched up. Tell yourself, this is the way I'm going to challenge myself, grow myself, make things happen. And hopefully that will be enough encouragement to push you into action. And remember, the more you do the task at hand, the easier it will become and it will turn into a habit. And so we did talk about the Atomic Habits, the book by James Clear, a great read if you are looking into becoming more productive and making those tasks into habits. Okay guys, I want to hear from you. Let me know in the comments, if you're catching us on YouTube, which one of these tips you're going to use to prevent yourself from getting into the habit of procrastinating. Are you going to use the MVA, SMART goals, starting up action for only 5 minutes and getting into the state of flow, or reframe, or are you going to pick all four? I want to hear from you. I want to know, because remember, procrastination can get any of us, and we want to make sure you're as successful as possible, not only in business, but also in life. Remember, make a plan and take action, and yes, you can have it all, and we'll catch you guys again next week. Take care. Bye.